Welcome, everybody, to Season 3 of Vintertainment. This is the podcast where we pair wine with entertainment. It's as simple as that. You don't need to understand wine. You just need to have fun with it, folks. Try to consider what kind of wine matches the tone, style, and aesthetic of the movie, show, album, book, or comic you want to enjoy. Any of those count. If it's entertainment, it counts. Or vice versa. You have a wine on hand. Now, what kind of entertainment is going to match that wine? Does that not make any sense to you? Don't worry. We're about to demonstrate. Just follow our leads. And you'll see as well that there's never just one pairing that makes sense. The universe of wine and entertainment is vast, my friends, and both take years of a creator's life to make. So we highly recommend getting out of your comfort zone and experiencing as much of both as time and health allows. Please drink and consume entertainment responsibly. You know, like get off your ass and exercise and drink water. And we're coming in hot in Season 3 with our very first sponsor, Curated Wine Shop. No idea where to begin finding a wine that pairs with your movie? That's okay. Almost literally no one does. But Curated is here to help. They accept every Vintertainment-inspired challenge and will curate the selection to match your palate. Just tell them what you're trying to pair with, your budget, your preferences, and they will show you the way. Curated is a boutique wine shop on La Brea Avenue, Mid-City, Los Angeles, founded and operated by peeps currently and previously part of the entertainment ecosystem. They carry an ever-changing, wide-ranging selection of small lot artisanal wines from the known and comforting to the completely unique. Whether you're talking about reds, whites, rosés, oranges, sparklings, dry wines, sweet wines, and everything in between, they pour a themed flight Wednesday through Sunday, different flight every single week, offer tiered membership, including the curated tier, of which I myself am a member. This is where they curate 3 bottles every month to match your preferences, even when your preferences, like mine, is to drink the weirdest frickin' things that fit within the monthly price point. Now, Curated is also the place where we will soon be hosting live and in-person wine and movie nights. We did our first back in October, and then the first for 2026 is currently being planned for March, and we hope to do them roughly monthly starting then. We plan to make it a night of short films by local LA filmmakers, each paired with a different wine. So if you're in the LA area, keep an eye out for that. And you can do so by heading to curated-wines.com. That's curated-wines, plural.com, where you can browse all the upcoming events at the shop and also browse most of their wine selection. And while you're at it, you should follow us on our Substack, vintertainmentstudios.com, where we will keep y'all up to date on all our upcoming events, as well as bonus wine and entertainment pairings, collabs with other writers, filmmakers, and wine peeps. That's curated-wines.com for Curated and vintertainmentstudios.com for us Vintertainment bros. And we just posted a heated wine pairing rivalry post on our Substack, vintertainmentstudios.com, where me and one other wine writer, we paired a different wine with every episode of Heated Rivalry, and you get to vote which was the better pairing. So head to vintertainmentstudios.com and vote for me if you don't mind. My pride's on the line. Thank you. And now, our very special guests today are Joe and Carmela Mele. They are the husband-wife duo behind one of my all-time fave wine podcasts, the Wine Pair Podcast. Now, FYI, there is a Vine Pair Podcast with the V as in Victor. That is for industry types. The Wine Pair Podcast with the W as in Wonder Woman, that is this podcast that we are talking about. That's for people like me and you, even though I am industry, but I'm normal industry. There is such a thing. Shut up. Anyway, recommended by Decanter Magazine, who calls the Wine Pair Podcast, quote, fun, irreverent, chatty, and entertaining, unquote. So a 4-quadrant podcast. In each episode, Joe and Carmela learn about, taste, and give their honest reviews for 2 to 3 wines that are reasonably priced, meaning under $25 each, as well as easy to find. Their podcast is made for people who want to learn more about wine, find new wines to enjoy, and just want someone to talk about wine in a fun and funny way that regular people can understand. So, if that sounds like you, then you simply must check out the Wine Pair Podcast and tell them we sent ya. Now, you can follow them at thewinepairpodcast.com, on Instagram at thewinepairpodcast, and or contact Joe, J-O-E, normal old school Joe, cup of Joe type Joe, directly and tell him you want to be on their mailing list at joe@thewinepair.com. thewinepairpodcast.com. And now, without further ado, let's bring them on, and we have yet another very special introduction for them. Let's see how it goes. Here we go. All right, it's time to introduce our very special guests today. And in fact, these guests are so special that we had to prepare a very special intro for them. All right, I might have gotten the lyrics wrong on this. They weren't written down anywhere online. I had to go by ear and I couldn't understand them all, but we're gonna find out. Here we go.
Welcome, Joe and Carmela Mele. You might not know these people, so let us give you a brief intro. They always spend too much, they always drink too much, they always pay too much, they always pray too much, and when they're with us too much, they naturally fall in love too much, and when we're away too much, they hunger for our touch. So it's good we finally got you on the pod.
Dance!
Something else. Nice.
Welcome, Joe and Carmela Mele. You might not know these people, so let us give you a brief intro. They always hold us too much, they always told us too much. They never guessed enough where they get to get fluffed. And now they're here with us too late to afford this shitty fate. Once lived in podcast palace till they said yes to Dave and Dallas. So it's good we finally trapped you on the pod.
Welcome, Joe and Carmela,
Wow.
Wow.
That
to
was something
entertainment.
else.
That's amazing.
How you doing?
It's amazing. That's.
I wish that would happen every time we walk into a room.
Yeah.
Don't say that. You'll do it.
That's right. That's right. That's right.
That was something
Careful what you
else.
wish for.
Wow.
Thank you.
Yeah, very cool.
By the way, that was thrown on me at the last minute too. I had no idea that was coming. So
Oh,
Oh, wow. Oh,
we're
my
all
God.
surprised.
Right. We need a recording of that, though. Of our own
Oh,
recording
you will.
of it.
You
Yeah.
will. Okay,
trust me,
you
it's
will.
coming.
You'll
Trust me,
have
it's
it. You'll
coming.
have it in audio, and we will share the. I have no doubt I'm making a social media post of that, so we will share that when it's ready.
Yes, you
But in any
Cool.
event, welcome to the show officially.
Thank you.
Wow.
Had to
thanks
give
for
you a nice
having us.
red carpet, rollout, and where do we start after that? So
We're done. Okay. That's it.
That's right. End of show.
what we have to do is, before we get to the movie that these two have picked out today, and they're going to introduce us to that, we have to do our wine trivia question of the week.
Oh boy.
Now, let's see if they can answer our wine
Oh,
trivia
boy.
question
Oh,
of the
boy.
week. Mr. Sommelier of reasonably priced wines. Let's see if you can answer it. Now, you did cover this not too long ago on your own podcast,
Oh boy.
Do you have
but
any
you don't
notes?
have your own show notes, so this is going to be a little trickier, right?
Pull up your phone
I don't
quick.
know how good I would do if someone threw a wine trivia question at me, but I tried to pick something that you have covered, so we'll see how well that memory, that noggin works.
Okay.
So, the Croatian grape, Selenac Kastelanski, is known in America as A. Charbono, B. Chardonnay, C. Cinsault, or D. Zinfandel. And that is the Croatian grape, Selenac Kastelanski. That is not how it's spelled whatsoever, because it's Croatian, but that is how it's apparently pronounced.
You want to take it? You want to take
Oh,
a
no.
guess?
No. This is all you.
A.
guys.
Charbono, B.
all you.
Chardonnay, C. Cinsault, or D. Zinfandel.
Think.
It's probably wrong, but I'm going to go Charbonneau.
It is wrong. I'll give you one more guess. And that's not bad because the guess would have lowered it down to probably Charbonneau and one other. But think of your roots. Think of your roots.
Well, then it's got to
Closer to
be
home.
Zinfandel.
It's Zinfandel,
It's
otherwise
Zinfandel.
known as Primitivo in Italy.
That's right.
Mm.
Okay.
Yes.
All right.
Wow.
So, but you're gonna
Stumped him. You
erase
stumped
that.
him.
You're gonna erase that part.
Yeah.
You got it wrong.
And just go to the
Like,
Z. Just go to it's
amazing.
like it's got to be Zinfandel,
Yeah.
right? We chop right to it's got to be Zinfandel.
Exactly,
Like I had that ready.
The power of editing. It's beautiful.
A Charbonneau, B Chardonnay, C Cinsault, or D Zinfandel.
It's got to be Zinfandel.
Zinfandel is correct. Oh my God, Joe is amazing. He's brilliant. He knows everything. Do the Muppet wave. The Kermit the Frog wave. All right, guys. Well, you have chosen a movie for us to talk about today. Can you please tell our listeners what that movie is, why you chose it? What is your history with this movie?
Sure.
Sure. So we chose the movie Game Night with Jason Bateman and Rachel McAdams. We kind of have a history with that movie, which is what came to mind right away. We were like, this is the movie we have to choose. First and foremost, because we don't usually agree on movies. We agree on wine. We agree on how to raise kids. We agree on most foods, but movies is usually a point of contention.
It's tough. Yeah.
Do you want to tell them why?
Well, I'll just say I like a lot of types, but I'm big into things that Carmela doesn't like.
I'm
Like,
a rom-com girl, okay?
yeah, she's rom-com. Like if it has any semblance of bleeding, blood, or danger, she's not super happy about it. So,
Okay.
I like sci-fi. She hates sci-fi.
I can't wait to talk about the dog scene, but okay.
Yeah. I like action films. She doesn't really like action films. I like brooding art,
Yeah.
artsy films like No Country for Old Men. She'd never
Oof,
watched that thing.
No.
Like,
I don't know. So when that movie came out, I think Joe was holding on to it and was like, "This is a movie night for us." And so,
okay.
on a fun night when it was just the two of us, which I think we were probably at that point almost just the two of us, he was like, "We're going to watch Game Night." And as soon as he said who was in it, I was sold. Like I was totally game. So we've watched it.
Dang.
Right. Exactly. So we've watched it probably 30 times.
Wow.
Wow. Okay, I've never seen anything 30 times in my life.
Well, we made people watch it
We were
because
like-
we were so enamored with it. We are like, you got to watch it. Now we made you guys watch it, but like, you got to watch it. Let's
Oh.
watch it
Wow,
together.
so
We
it
made our
is
kids
like
watch
your
it.
two's game night for everyone else.
It kind
Okay.
of is.
We were like,
kinda
oh,
is.
wait.
Did it
I've seen
inspire
Game Night.
any actual game nights for you guys at all?
Well, we like to play games, like as a family and with our kids. And, so
But we have never done a murder mystery game
no,
night.
no. So
Or
that,
kidnapping
I think
game
it's
night.
time.
I mean, we still might,
You
but
never know.
who knows?
Have you ever done like just the two, like not at your place, but like gone to locked room
Oh, yeah.
Yes. we've
mysteries
done
or
that.
things?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we've done that.
Yeah. So really there was a number of years, anytime we were like talking about movies or what we were watching, we would like ask right away, have you seen Game Night? And if somebody said no, we were like, oh my gosh, you've got to watch Game Night. It is so
And
much
then we
fun.
make them watch.
All of our kids
Yeah.
were like,
Good.
yeah, it's good, Mom. It's Mom and Dad.
Yeah, it's fine. It's fine,
It's
Mom.
Yeah, we liked it. So yeah, that's kind of the history behind it.
Well, on that note, let's do, before we start talking about the movie and our takes on it this time, and I don't know, the fact that you've seen it 30 times, one of our questions is going to be, has anything changed in this latest watching? I'm going to say,
No.
okay.
It did. Like
Mhm.
significant.
Okay.
Wow.
Significantly changed.
Interesting.
Yeah.
All right, fascinating. I was about to say, I'm going to take that as a hard no, and we'll just move away from that. But okay, that's fascinating. Hold on to that thought. But first, a quick, brief history of this movie so our listeners have context for what it is. And as we go through this conversation, guys, we're going to break the movie down. After the brief history, we're going to break the movie down into 3 different acts. When we get to Act 3, dear listeners, there will be spoilers. So if you want to watch this movie before listening to this full episode, or you want to skip Act 3 and just go to the wine pairings at the end after we say what happens in Act 3, do that. I'll have chapter markers all down below, so you can flip around and switch around, add to your heart's content. But we will spoil everything, and there are spoilers. All right. So here's the history. For most stories, coming up with the title is often the most difficult thing. But not so with Game Night, because the title was all that producer John Fox had. Game Night. It's a great title, gonna be a great movie. All I need now is a story, a script, actors, a director, the movie, but it's a great title. It's gonna be an amazing movie. So John Fox brought in screenwriter Mark Perez for story ideas. Perez was an inaugural member of the Walt Disney Studios Writers Program, a program where writers become contract employees of Disney for 1 year and receive mentorship, professional development, and quote-unquote unprecedented access to the company and its creative executives, producers, showrunners, and program alumni. And sure enough, Perez went on to write such fan favorites as The Country Bears.
Ooh, another favorite.
Wow.
Okay.
I don't recall that one.
No,
And how about Herbie Fully Loaded?
that one
Another
actually
classic.
we did
Another
see.
classic.
Long time ago.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Lindsay Lohan is in that movie, I believe.
But I
That's
think
right.
just once. I think we just saw it once.
Saw it once. Okay, well, we can all agree he got Game Night. Okay, he got Game Night. So he has that to his credit at the very least. So Fox brought John Fox. I have to be careful about that because Fox is a studio. John Fox brought the title to Perez, and Perez took inspiration from films like Three Amigos and Tropic Thunder, which is quite a range.
Mhm.
And he pitched this concept to 20th Century Fox, who liked it. The two pitched the project to Jason Bateman, who also liked it. They then sold the idea to New Line Cinema sometime between 2013 and 2014. And can I just say, this was like John Fox. He's like, I got a title. This is going to be amazing. Who's the worst writer I know? You, come here. Give me a story. Here's the title. Okay, great. Let's take it to a big star. He loves it. Great. Let's take it to a studio. They love it. I'm running out of range. I'm a guy. And let's take it. And then it just gets made. And it's like Hollywood actually worked once upon a time. And movies
It's
actually
amazing.
got made. That
Yeah.
simply. It is kind of, this is going to be a short history. There is not much to say. This
Wow.
movie was just like slipped in and was made. Now, there were a few things though. Can you two guess who was first slated to direct this movie? And hint, I've already mentioned their name.
That's true.
And they're very famous.
Now I know what it's like to be on the other side of the microphone because Carmela never listens to me. And so we weren't listening to you when you said it either. I don't know.
We were listening, but I don't recall.
Don't think too deeply. Don't think too deeply.
Jason Bateman.
Yes.
Oh, no way.
Yeah.
Really?
Yes.
Like
Yeah.
to direct it?
Yeah.
To direct it.
Oh, wow.
To direct,
So
produce,
if
and
you
star.
say Jason
Wait, has
Bateman,
he
I'll
di-
edit right to it as though you answered it properly. Go ahead.
Thank you. Has he ever directed any movies?
No, not
At this
the
point,
time.
no.
Wow.
What happened was Bateman was slated. He was slated to direct, star, and produce the film, but then they brought in screenwriters Jonathan Goldstein and John Francis Daly to rewrite Perez's script. And it became
It was
clear to
that
Bateman
good.
that the
It
two...
was that good.
It was that
Yeah,
exact.
right.
Shocker, right? Shocker. It's getting rewritten. I mean, to be fair, this is Hollywood. Like, they're not comfortable actually making a film if it hasn't been rewritten like 3 times minimum.
Right.
So, like, it doesn't matter whether it needs it or not. It's just like, let's just do it so we say we worked really hard on it, so we, have an exit if this goes badly. So they came in, and Bateman realized they would want to direct because Bateman had worked on their scripts before, Horrible Bosses 1 and 2, if anyone has seen those two.
Mhm.
And then since then, they had their directorial debut, Vacation, the movie starring Ed Helms, Leslie Mann, Christina Applegate, and Skylar Gisondo, which may I just say is such an amazing name.
Yeah.
Skylar Gisondo. So Game Night would be their second directorial effort, but they were very much on the director's path at that point. So when they came in to rewrite, Bateman was like, all right, if they're rewriting, I'm not going to get in the way. And he voluntarily stepped down, or at least that is the story. And by the way, they would go on to direct Dungeons and Dragons Honor Among Thieves
Whoa.
after Game Night,
Oh,
which is a
wow.
fantasy heist comedy
Right.
for the most part. So they mostly do comedies. Joe and Carmela, have you seen Horrible Bosses 1 and 2, Vacation, or Dungeons and Dragons Honor Among Thieves?
Oof.
I kind of think I've seen them all. I doubt
What?
you've probably
Really?
seen maybe one
Maybe
of them.
horrible. Maybe,
Bosses.
maybe horrible bosses. I
Yeah.
think so. I
Okay.
think I've seen that one, but I don't. The other ones, I don't think I've seen.
Yeah.
I guess they're not rom-coms, are they? Not very much.
Well, I don't have
No,
anybody to
no.
watch the rom-coms with, so I don't watch a lot of them.
But the Dungeons and Dragons has what's his name is in it?
Chris Pine.
Chris Pine. Chris
Oh,
Pine is
right.
it. So you might like that one.
Maybe, yeah.
Eh,
I'll have to
I
try
I mean,
it.
again, I guess
Eh.
Vacation turns into a rom-com in the second half. Like,
Okay.
there are people who don't know each other, but they all fall into this kind of scheme. And then, I mean, it's kind of like Game Night. They're all already in relationships, but then in Vacation, it's about all the criminal activity going on, and then they all fall into relationships due to the criminal activity and
Oh.
all that fun stuff.
Which
So,
happens.
yeah.
You know,
Truly, yeah.
you
Yeah.
do crime together. It's you
Right.
become like family.
Right.
yeah,
Very
exactly.
personal thing.
Who else are you going to turn
Doing
to at
crime.
that point? So yeah, you're stuck together at that point.
Yeah.
All right. So while Daly and Goldstein did not receive screenwriter credit on this movie, they later said they rewrote, quote, almost all of the original script's dialogue, totally overhauled the characters, most notably a creepy cop portrayed by Jesse Plemons,
Mhm.
and comprehensively reworked the original script's third act. Now, the rules of the WGA, the Writers Union, is that a director has to rewrite more than 50% in order to get screenwriter credit as a director.
Mhm.
So so they had to have rewritten less, like even if the WGA decides you rewrote 48%, doesn't count, right? It's like you still don't get credit. It's got to be over that line. So they
Right.
didn't overhaul it more than 50%, but that could still be very extensive rewrites. And they claim they did, even though they do not get screenwriter credit on this. So Game Night was filmed in Atlanta, featuring a central 3-story suburban home designed for complex, quote unquote, one-take shots. The oneer shot where they tossed the Fabergé egg around like a hot potato
Mhm.
used a CGI egg to make the oneer work. So they didn't have to retake all the tossing and the catching and
Did
whatnot.
not
Everyone just
know
had to.
that.
No.
Pretty
Yeah, so they just
good
had to mime it.
CGI.
Amazing.
Yeah.
So just the egg was CGI, and then it was attempted to be done as a true oneer.
Oh, I
Yeah.
love it.
And that whole scene was literally like 3 paragraphs and 1/3 of a page in the entire script.
Hmm.
And that scene goes on for like 5 minutes long.
Yes.
But the script
It's a
was just
good
like, they
one.
toss it around like a hot potato. This one escapes. And then it all, someone tackles someone and it's over. And so it was like 3 lines of description. And then it becomes one of the most memorable scenes in the movie.
Mhm.
By the way,
Yeah.
you will find in scripts written by the people who direct them. That shorthand, you will often find just one line, one through, or people who work together often. For instance,
Right.
like me, I'll write a script that has like 3 pages of directions for one scene, and then you have to go back and just need one line. You just need one actual line, and you get gold like this. So yeah.
Right. So another
Love
fun
it.
fact, the production used tilt-shift photography to create a miniature toy-like effect for cityscapes, reinforcing the game theme. So all those the things that look like they created miniatures on set of like the suburban house areas or the cityscapes, those are real places actually
That's right.
shot from above. But tilt-shift photography is when you kind of blur the top and the bottom and just
Mhm.
keep a narrow strip in focus, which transforms to the human eye, everything suddenly looks toy-like.
Oh, wow.
So you just use
Miniature
a
effect.
focusing effect.
I love
Yes.
that effect. Yeah, it's super
Cool,
cool.
yeah.
Mhm.
And Game Night grossed 117.7 million against a production budget of 37 million, so a very decent success,
Right.
and had a critical and audience reception that was largely positive, if not glowing. Richard Lawson of Vanity Fair gave the film a positive review, but wrote, quote, "It's a good time, but it maybe could have been a great one," which I suppose is true of so many nights meant to deliver us from the doldrums of settled life,
Mm.
unquote. And on that note, let's talk about the movie itself.
Let's do it.
All right.
Dallas,
Let's do it.
That was
You want to give us Act
great.
1, and then we'll all talk about our takes on Act
We
1?
will. Let's do it. Let's do it. First question for you guys. Are you trailer people? Leading up to a film, are you, 1, trailer people? 2, how much do you want to see or read about a film before you actually see it?
Okay, well, when you first said trailer people, I'm like, what exactly?
No.
I mean, you mean movie trailer. I thought you meant like,
What he was
do we
talking
live in a
about.
trailer? I mean, we,
Right.
no.
We don't mind it.
We're in Los
No,
Angeles.
no.
There's only one meaning to trailer.
That's
So-
right. That's right.
That's a good question. I think I want to know. I guess it depends. Like if it's a Shakespeare film, I kind of already know what's going to happen. But
Yeah.
I want to know enough to be intrigued, but I don't want to know. There are some trailers where you're like, I kind of think I've seen the
Right.
movie now.
Yeah.
And
Mhm.
so I like it when they leave a little bit to the imagination, so it's enough to get energized, but not so much that you feel like you don't need to see it.
I mean, I
right.
actually prefer to read a little bit about it. I mean,
Then watch it.
then watch it. Yeah, I rarely
Yeah.
watch a
Same.
trailer
Yeah.
for the same reason. But if I can read a little like snippet of it and I know who's in it, you know, that doesn't like seal the deal, like who's in it or
Yeah.
not. But that I like to do that typically. I don't
Yeah.
think we
Good
watched
answer.
the trailer on this one.
All right.
Well, I mean,
All right.
I guess, Joe, did you watch the trailer? Because you held it back, right? You held it in reserve.
That is true. Yeah.
You know, I don't know. I can't recall.
Okay.
I'm taking the
Fair.
fifth.
All right. Well, no worries. Given all that, let's get into Act 1. All right. Max and Annie Davis are avid gamers who meet at a bar trivia and become engaged during a game of, or after a game of charades. Their plans to conceive children are complicated by Max's feelings of inadequacy, which leads to infertility, of course, because that's what happens, apparently, compared to his very successful brother, Brooks. The couple regularly host game nights with their serial dating friend Ryan and married couple Kevin and Michelle Sterling. They struggle to keep these nights secret from their socially awkward police officer neighbor, Gary Kingsbury. By the way, favorite character in the entire film, especially after his painful divorce from their actual friend, Dabby. On one such night, when the attendees are meant to arrive incognito to hide from police officer Gary, brother Brooks arrives, radio blaring, tires squealing, in Max's dream car, no less, alerting police officer Gary that he is indeed being left out. Brooks then humiliates Max with a childhood story, as brothers do, during game night, and offends Annie, who assumed Max had been exaggerating his issues with Brooks by offering to host the next game night himself at his much swankier place, as more successful brothers do. So we're going to get into some thoughts here of Act 1. That's how this is going to break down going forward. I'll start us off here. Act 1 is, for me at least, sweet. It's irreverent. It's peppy. Sort of like a peppery jam. It also gives me hints of like the movie Clue. If you guys are familiar with the movie Clue, I'm sure you are. You cannot be unfamiliar with the movie Clue.
Not at our age, anyway.
It's
but
not
some
allowed.
people will be.
It is
It's
absolutely
old.
not allowed.
It's old.
It is very old. Yeah, it has to be like at least 40 years old now, right? 40, 45 years old.
Maybe.
These two people seem cut from the same cloth. So I was initially thinking something that contained grapes from the same or similar parentage, perhaps something like a Zin or a Primitivo, because I was in the camp that assumed and thought that Zin and Primitivo were distinct. And anyone out there who's listening, you probably know that there's been lots of conversation about the Zen and Primitivo grapes through the years, and whether or not they are genetically the same or genetically different grapes. Zen and Primitivo, was there ever any discussion or thought that the Zen and Primitivo grapes were different for you guys?
Well, this is what I would say about Zen and Primitivo. So we are, Carmela's family is from Puglia, and we went there this summer. So we had Primitivo in the homeland of Primitivo. So I think our inclination was always towards Primitivo. And I think with Zinfandel, because it's such a kind of California, it's been such a California wine and like sort of big and jammy and bold and it was not often my favorite wine, but our daughter went to Cal Poly in San Luis Obispo. And on one trip, we brought Carmela's parents along. And this is a long story. So Carmela's dad is sort of the inspiration for me loving wine. And the two of us, the four of us, my mother and father-in-law, Carmela and I, we went to Turley Winery in Paso. So Turley is like the bee's knees. Like that is great wine. We went to the tasting room, had a fantastic time. People were super nice and fell in love with the wine. So I would say I'm a Primitivo guy, but I'm a Turley fan.
Yeah. Turley is the standard bearer, I think. They're like the one to beat in California Zinfandel, no question, in terms of like what the grape can be versus the typical Zinfandel expression. And just for our listeners, because scientists have already figured this out, there's no debate. It is
no debate.
Zinfandel and Primitivo are
there used to be debate. I said there used to be debate. Go
Yeah,
on.
forget it. Debate
Okay.
is over.
Oh, yeah,
It's been
debate is over.
decided.
So they are by DNA the same grape, but they are clones of each
Yeah.
other. Clones are effing difficult to wrap your head around because they're vines, and vines are nutter butters, and they do things that very few other plants do. So a clone is basically, it's the same variety, but when you take a cutting of the original Primitivo from Italy, which at one point was an original cutting from the Croatian grape, and it plants in Italy, and if it stays there for long enough, it will adapt to the environment and start to express itself differently and genetically vary in small ways, shift. So it's still the same variety, but it is a different, kind of like how human beings can have slightly different genes in
Right,
them that are
expression,
like slightly
yeah.
different from each other. A clone will be that. And so it was Primitivo that came over to America originally, but it has since adapted. And if I have in my glass right now a bottle of Temecula California wine that does say Primitivo. And
Oh.
so that means it's probably a cutting from a nursery relatively recently that is still Primitivo that they planted in California. And because it's in recent history, they still consider it a Primitivo
Alright.
version of the grape. That is now, of course, there's still the terroir of California that is going to be a little different, which is another whole ball of wax. But anyway, Joe and Carmela, Act 1, you're just gotten to the point where the game night is going to happen at Brooks. We've done all the setup. Thoughts on this movie at this point?
Oh, I was already sold. I think I was sold. And Jason Bateman, I can just look at him and he makes me laugh. So
That's true.
Seriously.
That's true.
yeah, I loved their chemistry out of the gate. And even though like our sibling relationships are not similar, like we didn't really relate to that clash, with the brothers, we do have some of the traits or qualities of Jason Bateman and Rachel McAdams' chemistry or their relationship.
Okay.
So I was sold. What do you think?
Yeah. No, now question. When do you consider the end of the first act? Like,
Oh.
So when Brooks offers to do the night at his house next, but we
game
haven't
night,
gone to his house yet.
okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So at that point, I mean, I think there's I don't think I was quite as sold yet because it hadn't gotten really good yet.
The
But
action
it was
hadn't started.
but
blood.
but it was intriguing enough that like, oh, something's going on here. There's like sibling
There's
rivalry.
drama.
There's a crazy
Yeah.
neighbor. Like the whole like the Tostitos thing, super funny. Like there's just enough goofiness. Like Brooks, I told you not to say it. Like what are you doing? Like there was enough to be intrigued. But I think it was in the
There
next
was meat on
act
the
that I
bone,
was
huh?
Sold.
Yeah.
Okay.
We were both awake still, and that was big.
Yeah,
we were like,
big.
okay, we
Okay,
might
big.
make it
Big.
through. We might actually do this.
And did you go into this viewing? Did you already have thoughts on what you might pair it with? Don't reveal what you're going to pair it with, but did you have any? You can feel free to drop hints and tidbits. Did you go in already knowing what you thought you would pair it with, or did you, in the first act, did you have any thoughts yet of what you thought you might do?
I did.
Yeah, I think we both did. I think we
But
did.
don't say it.
I won't say it. I
Don't
won't
say
say
it.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
No, I
Did
think
you
we
agree?
did. I think so.
I think
I think we
so.
did.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think we did.
Okay.
Here's one other quick question on that, Dave. What were you using to sort of, in terms of your pairing, what were you going after in terms of which wine you were going to pair? What was your instinct there?
Well, I would say that we were looking at what wines they were serving. Like at each time they were getting together, we were kind of looking at what was going on with what they were drinking. So I just
That
kind of,
was-
and the thing was they're drinking different wine throughout the movie. So we weren't, we wanted to kind of like relive, on our 30th watch, every time there was something they were drinking, what they were drinking, what they were doing while they were drinking, and what they were eating with it. So we just knew we had ideas, but we didn't, we wanted to watch the whole thing through.
All right.
I think it was a little bit more for me. It was a little bit more vibe.
Okay.
What's the vibe?
Nice.
Okay.
Nice.
And on
Very
that
nice.
note, the vibe, like for me, I thought this was very much a comedy of that time period, which are comedies that I like quite a bit, but the Lord and Miller comedies that were all coming out around that time, Judd Apatow, it's goofy, it's frenetic, it's like over the top, but also there's a certain groundedness to the emotional content to the relationships. Like, it's actually telling a serious story, but couched in absolutely absurdist
Right.
means and absurdist content. So at first, my thought for the first act, I was like, good God, this could be anything. Like, I could do a red, I could do a white, I could do a rosé, I could do a sparkling. It kind of could all fit. But I did pick up on the sibling rivalry element of the whole thing. So I started thinking, all right, maybe like 2 sibling grapes. I didn't know which ones,
Oh,
but
Yeah.
same parent, but one bigger and badder and more respected than the other. And the other one kind of struggling to come up in that shadow and dealing with his own insecurity. My first thought was kind of Pinot Noir, Pinot Meunier, which Pinot Noir obviously being the famous one, and Pinot Meunier being the Johnny-come-lately that like no one even knows exists, but is frankly often like stellar, like sometimes even better than Pinot Noir. But the only problem is I kind of wanted a wine where both those grapes were in the same wine, whatever they might be. And the only time you see those two together really are in sparkling wines like champagne. And the lightness, the effervescence, that would work. But I was sipping a dark rosé at the time when I was first turned the movie on. Kind of Tavel style rosé. So it was like that, somewhere in between a light red and a really dark rosé. And I was like, yeah, I think I want it even darker though. I think ideally I'm feeling like this movie is going to go somewhere a little dark. So let's get a little body, let's get a little boldness. So I was veering in that direction.
Fun random fact, just so you guys, I don't know why I'm even bringing this up. But when we were in Italy, when we were in Puglia, I think it was your cousin brought out, we were having like a seafood dinner and we had a Primitivo rosé. And it was awesome.
Yes.
Primitivo rosé.
Yes. Especially if it's, I'm assuming it was a little darker in color, like definitely not Provençal style, right? It was more...
Yeah. I mean, the color was light, but the flavor was different, right? It was
different,
more tannic, a little bit more body, but anyway, total tangent. Sorry.
Putting that on the list, we definitely have to find one of those.
Honestly, Italian Rosado is like, I prefer that over French Rosé, like every day of the week. It's just, it's always got more going on in it.
Yeah, like a Nebbiolo Rosé is one of the best I've ever had.
Yes. I had a Rosé of Aglianico recently that I did not. I was like, what? All right. So, Act 2. When the guests, which include serial dater Ryan's new date, Sarah, arrive at Brooks' rental house, Brooks reveals that he has initiated an interactive role-playing mystery game. The winner is promised his Corvette. An actor enters, played by the way, an uncredited Jeffrey Wright, which is bizarre. He doesn't even get credited in this movie. That is I don't know if they just didn't want to spoil that he was in the movie or what, but there are press releases that he got cast in the movie, but they didn't put his credit. And I'm like, I always wonder how that works a little bit. Yeah. But anyways, that he shows up, Jeffrey Wright, to begin the game. But the actor is suddenly knocked unconscious by 2 masked men who then kidnap Brooks. Believing this is part of the game, the couples passively observe the fight and then split up to solve the quote-unquote fun mystery. Ryan and Sarah visit the role-playing company's office to offer a bribe for the final clue, while Kevin and Michelle, the other married couple, talk to the actor and realize, nope, Brooks' abduction was real. But meanwhile, unbeknownst to Max and Annie, they track Brooks' phone to a bar and use a gun, thinking it's fake, that Brooks dropped while being kidnapped. They hold his captors at gunpoint and free him, but then Annie accidentally shoots Max in the arm for reals. They realize the gun is real and that they are, in fact, in grave danger. They flee as Brooks confesses that he is a black marketeer. He procured a Fabergé egg for a criminal known as the Bulgarian, but instead sold it to someone with the alias Marlon Freeman. With his kidnappers in pursuit, Brooks jumps out of the car so Max and Annie can escape. The couples regroup and, unable to go to the police because of Brooks's criminal dealings, decide to recover the egg from Freeman to deliver to the Bulgarian, and thus free Brooks from his current plight. So they show up at police officer Gary's and distract him with the pretense of a game night, while Max uses Gary's police computer to discover Freeman's real name, Donald Anderton, and Anderton's address. But only after Max accidentally bleeds all over, and I mean all over, Gary's dog from his gunshot wound. as well as the shrine dedicated.
Bastion.
Oh, as well as the shrine dedicated to his ex-wife, Debbie. The group leaves and receives the kidnapper's call to meet them in 1 hour. And I will say one of the laugh out loud moments of this movie is when the dog shakes.
Oh,
And you're just because it's that one extra note that you're like, this is funny enough as is, and then the dog shakes and you're like, that was one step too much.
Yeah, just when you thought things couldn't get any worse, they got worse.
Yes, 100%. All right, Act 2, guys. What are your thoughts? Now we're into the blood, Joe. What did you think?
It's like this is where the movie just kind of goes off the rails, and when I really started to love it, because everything is so over the top and outrageous that it's, you know, everything from going to the murder mystery place to the fight.
Oh my
like
gosh.
it's just everything. The bar scene where they're like you know, where they are finding everything is over the top. And
It's
so
the best.
yeah, but that, like, there are some takes in that I think are the best part of the movie, like when Ryan is pushing the dollar bills across.
That is so funny.
I mean, that's classic scene. So like, and then the whole you passed over like our favorite scene, which is the bullet, like trying to extract the bullet, and she starts tapping on it.
Yes.
And we love that she used a Chardonnay because, you know, I don't know if you know, but we're not huge Chardonnay fans. And we were like, that's what you should use a Chardonnay for. That's perfect.
to cauterize the wound.
Yeah.
Is it high enough alcohol to cauterize the wound? That's the one thing I wondered about. I'm like, that probably has residual sugar in it. I don't think this is good.
It's going to sting a lot. Like, it's probably going to really hurt a lot. But I just love it because there's so much character development in that second act. And there's no weak link. Like, there's nobody, everybody is pretty funny, you know, and pretty solid. And there's great chemistry between all the couples. And it's one of those things. We did not watch it in the theaters. We watched it at home, like, for the first time. We've never watched it in a theater. And I think you can't be in a theater because there's so many of these, oh my gosh. I mean, you're just like, you know.
No, you just let it rip in the theater. You just do all that. That's what makes it so fun in the theater. Yeah.
Because it's kind of exhausting. It's not like a kickback, like, oh, this is so sweet. I mean, we are kind of in it. When we watch it, we're like, oh my God, you know. So that portion of the movie is just so much fun. We love it.
My turn for a side note.
Yeah.
I was once when Jurassic Park came out to theaters back in the 90s. That was one of the few movies I went back to a couple of times to see over and over again.
You must have been like 5.
No, I'm older than that. I'm older than that. That was 95, so I was almost graduated high school at that point.
Wow.
So not quite that young.
Yeah.
I ain't that much of a spring chicken. I dance like one.
No, we won't ask.
Don't
we
reveal
won't
the
ask
number.
questions.
Don't
That
reveal
is
the
the year
number.
we
There
got
you go.
married, by
No,
the way.
we
So
probably-
anyway, there you go.
Oh, there you go. There you go.
No.
Really?
Oh.
Well, you guys don't look that age.
No.
Wow.
No.
I told it. Like the
Wow.
song said, you don't guest enough where you get to get fluffed. This is what you come here for,
That's it.
right?
Love
You
it.
I love it.
Love it.
So my side note, when I saw one of the times I saw Jurassic Park, I'm glad it wasn't my first time. That might have been annoying on the first time, but it was like the second or third, and there was some lady in front of me, and she had one of those screams that was like, ah! Ah! And every single time something happened with the dinosaurs, ah! And I was just like, oh my God, like the whole theater was cracking up and just like turning and looking at that and just like, what is, who? Like she was more terrifying than the movie at that point because it just kept ripping. But I never forgot that experience for that reason. So like, it really is, it can be a really great thing to just have that, you know, whatever your reaction is,
I
let
love
it out.
that. It's nice that she brought joy because some people are like, shh, down in front or whatever, you know? So that was a good thing.
Right. I think if she was doing it to try and get it, like, you know, there's ways of doing it to get attention or like shouting dumb things at the screen, which no one wants to hear. But the scream was so real. Like that was just what she did. And yes, she was in a theater and I'm like, I don't know if I'd want her in every theater I'm ever in, but my God, this is an experience. I've never watched a movie with someone like this before.
That's hilarious.
Okay, so while we're on a tangent, I want Carmela to tell you her story about Jurassic Park in the theater.
Well, I don't know. Okay, so when did the first Jurassic Park come out? Okay,
95.
The first came
94, 95, something like that.
No, it
95.
must have come out because the first
90.
no.
Just
94.
93 or
Just
not,
tell
because
the
All the way
story.
back
I was a
93.
senior
Ooh.
in college. We were not
93.
married
Ah.
yet, so it was earlier in the early 90s when
Ah,
the first
okay.
one came
All
out,
right.
and I
All
had
right.
just gotten back from a semester or quarter away in Italy, just because I was studying Italy, and I came back and I went with a bunch of friends to that show that night. And yeah, it's a loud show, right? It's dinosaurs, and about
Mhm.
a third of the way through, I'm like,
She fell asleep. She fell asleep.
I'm out.
It's Jurassic
Ah!
Friends are
Park.
like, "Are you kidding?" And I'm like, "Look, I just got off of a 10-hour flight,"
Yeah.
and they're like,
Right. I mean, jet lag does it to
Right,
everyone. You
so-
can't stay up. You can't. Yeah.
I've seen it. I have
Yeah,
seen
yeah,
it,
yeah.
the whole thing, but that
Yeah.
first time, no.
Okay.
Okay, good.
Well, we're not going to
Good.
judge you too loudly, but
Good.
And now,
there
of
is
course,
judgment in the room.
question for you two after that, though, is any new thoughts on your wine pairing, or were you on that same path?
I was pretty much on the same path. I did kind of waver a little bit because
Okay.
of some
You
things that we've
did, yeah.
talked about.
Mhm.
Uh-huh.
But I stayed on the path. Did you stay on the path?
I think
Carmela?
we did. I think I did as well. I liked he did suggest something else during
Mm.
that act, and we talked about it, but I think we stayed on the same path.
All right, cool. And then
Okay.
just to go in a different order this time,
Cool.
I'll do mine. You do yours, Dallas. So yeah, as in this case,
Yeah.
Act 2, the stakes are increasing, the plot thickened. I definitely decided, yes, I wanted my wine to thicken. So definitely a bolder red. Nothing harsh, but intensity would work. Something, that had more than a white rosé or sparkling was ever going to offer me. So, and I had a thought on the sibling rivalry element and a bold red. I had a bottle of it, so I cracked it open. And after the dark rosé I was drinking, and it turned out to be a better pairing than I even thought it was going to be. That comes in Act 3. So this is the one I stuck with, but I thought it was a good pairing. And then Act 3 hit, and I was like, oh, this is perfect. So I'll reveal more then. But Dallas, your thoughts here.
Yeah, usually I am, if I've got a couple of bottles open or I've got things available, I'm tasting things and I'm being obnoxious, of course, as is my way. Dave can attest to that. But this time, I think I chose really well because, the wine I chose had some really solid pepper in it. And I knew the plot for this film was going to heat up after Act 1. So I think I stayed pretty steady. I did not find the inclination to sort of change much. And I think I chose pretty damn well. So I ended up staying with my first choice, which is very jammy, very fruity, very peppery, and solidly high in alcohol. I guess not technically high, but I haven't had wine in a very long time. And a long time is about
Okay.
2 weeks for
Right.
me.
Semi-dry January.
Damp
So,
damp January.
yeah, exactly. So yeah, I stayed pretty solid with my choice. Yeah.
Okay.
We're sticking with it. We're all sticking
Yeah,
with
we're
it.
all sticking. Mhm.
This is Act 3, guys. So here there be spoilers. You have been warned. This is where the spoilers come, guys. So
3, 2, 1.
the group sneaks into Anderton's mansion where he is hosting an underground fight club. That's right, a fight club. This was a bit of a punchline payoff for a joke running throughout the entire film, of course. Searching for the egg, Michelle and Kevin, who are the other married couple. Michelle admits to Kevin that she once slept with none other than Denzel Washington while they were briefly separated. But when she shows Kevin a picture of the guy, Kevin happily declares him to be a lookalike and not the real Denzel Washington. Fun fact, the actor in the photo is a Denzel Washington impersonator in real life. They're all over LA. I actually live with a couple of celebrity I live in a
No
building with a couple
way.
of celebrity impersonators, and it's kind of weird. It is. But separately, Max tells Annie that it's not just his inferiority or infertility complex. He may not be ready to have a child. But then serial dater Ryan spots the egg in an open safe, leading to a game of hot potato, as we've already referenced, or keep away with the Anderton's guards. The group escapes with the egg, but accidentally breaks it, revealing a written list of names inside. That's right, the egg was fake. The group meets with Brooks and his captors only to be captured themselves. Brooks reveals that he has always been jealous of Max's life and intended for him to win the Corvette all along. Then police officer Gary suddenly arrives and saves them all, but is shot in the chest. Max and Annie comfort him by promising to invite him to every future game night, after which Gary reveals that he hasn't, in fact, been shot. That this whole kidnapping and shootout was staged as a part of Gary's own interactive game, including hiring the kidnappers to track them into letting him rejoin the game night. By the way, hats off to Gary. I love a good plot. Anyway, Gary is, however, confused by the existence of the list, which he recognizes as a witness protection list. And they are suddenly cornered by the real Bulgarian Michael C. Hall.
Mhm.
For you guys who don't know, he is the actor
Dexter.
from... Exactly. He's just fantastic. Anyway, Max offers the list in exchange for their lives, but Brooks, thinking they will all be killed anyway, swallows the list and is taken to the Bulgarians' plane where they intend to carve the list out of Brooks's stomach. But question, by that time, isn't it just sort of dissolved by stomach acids? Anyway,
Not paper.
Max and Annie race to the airport in the dream car Corvette. Okay, I don't want to know why you know that. Sounds creepy. Stop the plane, subdue the Bulgarian and his henchmen, and rescue Brooks. In light of all the night's revelations and the success of rescuing his brother, Max realizes he wants to be a father after all. 3 months later, Brooks is under house arrest, but somehow has sold the witness list on the black market for, get it, $3 million, though only after tipping off the witnesses to their danger for an extra 20 grand each. He hosts a game night for the group, including police officer Gary, and Annie reveals she is pregnant through a game of Pictionary. But then, armed men pull up in a car outside. Okay.
And actually, quick side thing. I just wanted to say I know about the paper thing because my cat has pooped out paper.
Oh.
So
Oh,
I know
well,
it goes in one end and out
Good
the
to
other.
know. Good to know.
Sure, Dave. Sure,
Good
My
sure,
cat.
sure.
I just put on the ears and
Now we know. Now we know.
Real quick here, I'll start. Just by the way, in Italy, they call Zinfandel Primitivo, of course, as we've discussed, well, most of the time. In Europe, they're allowed to use the two names interchangeably now, but American wineries aren't allowed to do the same. There was a proposal to allow this in California, but it was never adopted due to pushback from winemakers who thought the two grape clones were too distinct. Primitivo, especially when grown in Italy, tends to be lower in alcohol, 13 to 14%, and give darker fruit flavors, though less fruit forward in general, coupled with earthly flavors like licorice. By the way, I despise the flavor licorice, and
Is
the
in wine,
only
okay.
way I enjoy it is in wine. The only way I can enjoy it is in wine, which is very curious. The note, I should say, with baking spices. New World's Zinfandel tends to be hotter, with 14 to 17% alcohol. by
I've had a
volume.
17%
Yes, that
Zinfandel.
is
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
17%. Yeah, that is, wow. It's beautiful.
Well, what's your wine?
Oh, I didn't say it. Oh, crap. All right. That's because I've had 2 glasses so far.
Nice.
For you.
I am doing the OZV. You're not going to be able to see this. The Old Vine Zinfandel from Lodi.
Oh, yeah.
Of course. A very accessible little wine here. It is it's kind of beautiful. It's blackberry jam is sort of dominant or first, I suppose. You get this sort of intersection of like jelly and chocolatey kind of thing. There's a solid pepper on it. It is this one is 13.9, I think 14.5. Wow. 14.5.
Nice try.
Yes, I know, right? 14.5. I seriously, right? It's a solid little sweetness. The mouthfeel is pretty creamy, solid tannins. Again, there's that peppery kind of thing, which I enjoy, and it is insanely drinkable, which is why this is my second bottle in 2 days.
Nice.
Yeah, it's a problem.
And by the way, I wanted to say that in the spirit of the Wine Pair podcast, for which your own podcast, where you do only under $25 bottles
That's
of
right.
wine, we made sure our pairings were under $25 as well.
Excellent.
So all your
$14.
listeners can find these bottles and will be willing to check them out if they so
Yeah.
choose.
Right.
In
Very
general,
cool.
you can find this guy, the OZV Old Vine, OBZ Old Vine Zinfandel from Lodi for anywhere from between $13 and $19.
Not bad.
Wow.
It's a solid little doozy here. That is my guy. I'm sticking with it, and I'm wonderfully
Sweet.
surprised by this guy. So yeah,
Oh,
Yeah.
great.
All right.
what you got today?
Let's have you guys go next after that. So Joe
Mhm.
and Carmela, what did you choose and why?
Well, we did kind of stay with the same wine throughout the movie, but we did pay a lot of attention not just to the feel and the vibe, but what were people eating and what kind of foods were actually
All
in.
right.
Nice.
'Cause there's a scene, like the first scene is
Yeah.
Tostitos and salsa, but they
That's
have a
true.
red wine, and that feels kind of weird. Like, I don't think you should do. Maybe you could do a light red wine, like
Red
a Pinot or
salsa,
something.
kind
Yeah,
of.
maybe, but it's kind of right. And then
Yeah.
then they
Yeah,
go
no,
to
I know.
Brooke's house, and they have. She says this is good champagne, and then they have the big
Right.
thing of cheese, right? And then they go.
Right.
What else? They there is the scene with the Chardonnay.
scene, but
Yeah, and then
Oh, yeah.
when they go to the
With raw meat.
the
I guess.
With raw meat, yeah.
yeah.
yeah,
But when they go to the fight house, whatever that guy's
Mhm.
house, they have like a boar, like a big pig, you know.
and
So
they're drinking
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
sparkling.
so we kind of went back and forth on a few things. We did think really hard about, like Carmela said earlier, maybe we do Chardonnay because we just love that scene and it's so funny. But we do hate Chardonnay. Well, we don't hate it.
Thank
We just don't like
you.
it very much.
Thank
We don't like it
you.
very much.
Thank
So
you.
if we were going to choose a Chardonnay, we would have chosen a Chablis, like an unoaked.
Mhm.
Exactly.
Right. But we didn't want to go with that. And then we thought about, like, well, if we did a red wine, it'd probably be something a little bit like you had mentioned some of these, Dave, like something a little lighter, like a Pinot Noir
Yeah.
might go with some of
Mhm.
these foods and the cheese and
Yep.
the pig and all. And then we thought we're going back to what we thought from the beginning. And
Uh-oh.
it's a sparkling wine. And by the way, as
Yeah.
you said, a classic sparkling wine, like a champagne style wine, would
Yeah.
have Chardonnay in it,
Mm.
would
That's
have
right.
Pinot Noir in it. And so we're sticking with it. And because we
Et
are
voila.
because we are the Wine Pair podcast, it's Costco Kirkland
Yes.
champagne.
Costco for the win.
Yes.
Yeah. By the way, guys, that Naomi episode was fantastic.
Oh, that's awesome.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yes.
We took one for
Well,
the team.
We also, we drink sparkling, especially Kirkland. I mean, any day of the week, it
Yeah.
doesn't matter. But we do feel like this show has some celebrations going on amongst all the heaviness. They get married.
Yeah.
They're going to have a baby.
It's a
So there
rom-com.
was this, right, exactly. So it was
rom-com.
kind of like, had that effervescence, that kind of fun factor to the
Mhm.
show. And that's kind of how the movie makes us feel too, kind of bubbly. So even like with all the heaviness of the, the kidnapping and the
See, for her, it's
Yeah.
heavy. For her, it's
Right.
heavy.
That's hilarious.
Kidnapping's
In
heavy.
a way,
I was
though,
like,
because
okay.
the events should all be a tragedy, right?
Yeah.
I mean, it
Right,
should be
right.
very. If this wasn't absurd and done in an absurd style, this is like street crime,
Right.
Yeah.
dark drama.
Yes.
that
So
would just be
true.
like if this was really happening, it would all be terrible.
It's kinda
but then they do
terrible.
it so absurd, yeah,
Yeah,
that it works.
A lot
we
of
It-
trauma.
We're
We're
laughing at
okay
all
with
of it.
Yeah,
And
exactly.
so,
yeah.
yeah.
So that's
all
our
right.
wine. And you know what?
Okay.
We also believe champagne or sparkling wine gets a bad rap, that it's kind of a celebration wine or it's
Yes.
before. But you know what? If it's a good wine, you can have it all the way through the movie or all
That's
the way
right.
through the meal.
Mhm.
Right.
That's right.
Mhm.
That's right.
Agreed. And I will say, Chardonnay is one of those grapes. I feel like Chardonnay and Cabernet Sauvignon, because they were the king and the queen of California wine, of American wine, and that brought us back, from the brink of prohibition and all that fun stuff.
Yeah.
Those are the two that now, like you get what you pay for.
Totally.
And so there is no truly good, affordable Cabernet Sauvignon or Chardonnay. And so, I mean,
that sounds like a challenge to our listeners there, Dave. You just said there is no good, affordable. All right. That's a challenge to our listeners there.
Not as good as the other wines at that same price point. And that's where it becomes a problem, right? And that's why you're like, I don't like Chardonnay. And I'm like, I don't blame you. You know, unless you're spending 60 to 80 bucks a bottle, you probably don't like your Chardonnay. Yeah. This is probably true. All right. Well, to bring us on home here. So, you know, darker red. I knew I wanted that with sibling grapes that could have been said to have a sibling rivalry with each other. One seemingly more respected and successful than the other, giving the other an infertility complex. And then that plot twist in Act 3 came. And technically, the fun thing about this movie, there's only technically one plot twist.
Yes.
That is just Police Officer Gary.
Yeah.
And then the second twist is really just the thing we actually thought was going on all along.
Right.
It just
a reveal.
also is true on top of the plot twist with Gary. So then it plays out like there's multiple plot twists, but there's just one plot twist. Yeah. And thankfully, the wine I'd already chosen came with its own plot twist on top of having two sibling grapes. So I chose a predominantly Carmenere wine, 85% Carmenere with 15% Cabernet Sauvignon. They are both from the Cabernet family. They both have Cabernet Franc as their parent grape. And I got the Concha y Toro Gran Reserva Carmenere 2021. Roughly goes anywhere from $16 to $20 a bottle that you can find. These are sibling grapes. And obviously, Sauvignon Blanc is the other grape for Cabernet Sauvignon. It's a very rare grape. That's the other grape for Carmenere. No one's ever heard of it, so it really doesn't matter. But Carmenere, the fun fact about Carmenere, and here's where the plot twist comes in, is that it is today, mostly you're going to find it in Chile. It is one of the original Bordeaux grapes, along with Cabernet Sauvignon, but they don't grow a lot of it in Bordeaux anymore. It's barely in France anymore. But Chile really picked it up and made it its own, except they didn't know it was Carmenere. For the longest time, they thought they were growing Merlot, which also, fun fact, also part of the Cabernet family. So it also could be one of the sibling grapes. But until the 1990s, when they finally DNA tested all the Merlot in Chile and realized it was Carmenere. So if you ever find a bottle before the 1990s that says it's a Chilean Merlot, you're pretty much getting Carmenere. I stumbled upon a Magnum of 1985. I didn't buy it, but I was like, it was kind of cheap, but I wasn't sure how good Chilean winemaking was in 1985. So I was like, I'm probably going to pass, but it was a giant Magnum of Chilean Merlot. And I was like, that's fun. Because that's probably not going to actually be Merlot. You know, this wine, it was Carmenere from Chile. The thing I like about Carmenere, and the reason it goes, you can find a good cheap version of Carmenere versus something like Cabernet Sauvignon, is it's not as well known, and it comes with a sort of smoky and spicy undertone that is not present in Cabernet Sauvignon. Well, it does still have a little bit of that green bell pepper, that astringency that whole Cabernet family of grapes is known for, on top of the fruitiness. So Chilean Carmenere, you know, you got red and black fruit in there. It's juicy, it's dense, but it's got that smoky and spiciness. So it's got that little bit of complexity and fun that is often lacking from just the big, bold Cabernet Sauvignons, which are kind of a bit too one thing coming at you. And Carmenere, it's got a bit more of a diverse flavor profile. So yeah, I think, and Carmenere is the sibling that comes out on top in Chile. And it's the underdog. It's the one no one gives respect to. Nice. Yeah, exactly. So he's the Jason Bateman, right, of the thing.
Yeah, like it.
And so this is the 85% Carmenere. Yeah, and that is
deep cut.
That is once again Concha y Toro.
Good call.
And we did in the Wayback Machine. We did do an episode on Carmenere. I think we may have to bring it back. Do another episode on it, because it's kind of an interesting, little known red wine that I think a lot of red wine drinkers would probably appreciate if they knew anything about it.
I agree. I always do. There's these wines that I always say have a burnt rubber note, which is kind of the smoky note, but I always sometimes think of it as burnt rubber. Pinotage is one of them. Carmenere is one of them. And they're so undersung. Pinotage, admittedly, has only gotten good in recent years. Carmenere, I think they figured out a little earlier, so it's been good for a while. But I love both those grapes, and they're so underappreciated. I love them so much.
Awesome.
All right.
Beautiful.
What were your laugh out loud moments on this movie, by the way?
Yeah.
Just out of
Oh my
curiosity.
God.
So many of them.
So many. Definitely when they're trying to extract the non-existent bullet.
Tapping on the bone is maybe what is that?
Yeah.
We love
Yeah.
we love that
Yeah.
conversation with the two of them. And then
Yes.
also when when they're getting on the airplane and what is it when he's trying to they're doing the charades
Yeah.
and he's saying a couple times he's trying
Right.
to get that thing to fall down, right?
Yeah.
Right.
That big bear or whatever it was, suitcase, and he's like, he says something like, "Oh, it's
That's
going
a
so
slow
slow.
belt."
That's a slow
That's right.
belt."
Because then they
Yeah.
finally turn it on, and it's just like,
And the guy looks,
Yeah.
and then the other
and he's like,
thing,
oh, that doesn't work.
Yeah.
well, then there's a point. This is so Jason Bateman, but he says something. She says something to him, and she goes, no, he says that hurts or something
Yeah,
like that. I
that's
forgot
hurtful.
what it is. That's hurtful. Something like just like one little phrase
Yeah.
that he says is
Yes.
so
Yeah.
funny in that scene.
Jason-
Also,
Jay-
when Rachel McAdams, the
Yeah.
guy is gonna kill her, and then he gets sucked up into the engine.
Oh,
and she
yeah.
goes,
Yes.
oh no! he's
Oh no, he
dead."
died. Yeah, yeah. I think for me, it's so fantastic. Jason Bateman, he is sort of the king of like processing in the moment. You're seeing him actively
Yes.
process
Yeah.
things, and that's part of the comedy. And there are very few actors who kind of do
Mhm.
that so well. I think the laugh out loud moment for me, which trumps all the others, is the moment in the office with the blood and him trying to find the list of
Oh.
names. That
That is so-
just
that is so funny.
that's just beautiful.
Yeah.
That's
That
just
is
fantastic.
really good. Yeah.
I mean, the poster has the dog between them. They
Exactly.
They knew. They
Yeah,
had a,
they knew
had
the
a winner
moment.
in
They
that
knew the
scene.
moment. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh,
Yeah,
so
yeah.
good.
And the only other thing I'll throw in there is I actually really appreciated the running joke of the unbreakable glass tables. The
Yes,
second
that's
time
true.
it happened,
That's true.
I actually laughed out loud. I was like, I can't believe they remembered
That's
that
true.
and did
Yeah.
it
They
again.
did a lot.
That is hysterical.
Dallas, you had mentioned that, but there were a lot of things that get paid off in the third act.
Yes.
Like they're just jokes that
Yeah.
they keep setting up, and then they
Yeah.
hit. And it's
Mhm.
Yeah,
super funny.
it again, that's what sort of reminded me of Clue, because every joke that they sort of set up, even the sort of minuscule, sort of tiny ones, everything finds its sort of conclusion and everything's tied up in a nice little neat bow, which is a testament to the ensemble comedy, the sort of the directing team, the writers. This all around, it's just a great little comedy. It is a great little,
Yeah.
It is.
action comedy, I suppose. Yeah.
I'm so glad you guys like it too.
Yeah.
When we chose it, you never know if somebody's like, "Oh God, that doesn't sound." So
I was
great."
I was fully expecting to hate it. I was fully expecting to absolutely hate it
Yeah.
and
Really?
judge you
Are you
guys
being
silently after we finish the
Oh,
episode.
nice.
It's not his thing. It's not his thing. In the same way you hate the horror and the blood and the guts, this is way too mainstream for Dallas
Oh,
normally.
no. Wait, was
love
this
it.
the
So
first
this
time
is-
both
yeah.
of you had seen it too? Like, was
Uh-huh.
this your first
Yeah,
watch?
I think I started it
Yep.
with someone when it first came out, and I was like, absolutely not. Yeah,
we forced you, and it worked.
Yeah.
It worked.
it did. It actually worked.
And that's
Thank
the joy
you.
of doing
It worked.
these podcasts. You taste wines you wouldn't taste
Absolutely.
otherwise. Same
Absolutely.
thing. Like we watch things, we're exposed to things. That's why I like the guests to pick.
Yeah.
I've had guests sometimes be like, "Well, what do you want to watch?" I'm like, "No.
Yeah.
I could do that any night.
Same.
I want you
Exactly.
to pick something and throw it at
That
me."
is so funny.
It really is. It's a
That
curious
fun.
little, we call this our curious little corner of the world, because we have found over the years that, as Dave said, it forces you to kind of take a second glance at things you normally wouldn't and wines you normally wouldn't.
Love it.
And the intersection of those two things is kind of the sweet spot, because you aren't necessarily focused on either one of the things totally. So
Yeah.
it's a curious little corner of the world, and we like it. So thanks for coming
Love
and
it.
joining us.
So
here.
Oh,
fun.
thank you for having us.
What
So
a
much
blast.
fun.
We had a great time.
Yeah. Thank you so
Thank
much. And
you.
tell our listeners before you go, where can they follow you? Where can they find you? Where is the Wine Pair podcast?
Well, you can find us anywhere you get your podcasts. So we're on whatever, Spotify, the Apple Podcasts, Amazon, whatever you listen to, you can find us. You can go to our website, thewinepairpodcast.com. Instagram, we're on Instagram and Blue Sky at the Wine Pair Podcast. And you can always email me at joe@thewinepairpodcast.com. And you know what? We always answer. We always ask Dave.
They
Ask
always
Dave.
do. Yep. Yep.
Yeah.
I
his
email
favorite
them
part of the day.
constantly, and they constantly answer. It's amazing
I
how that
know.
works. All right, guys. Well, thank you so much for joining us. And you
Yeah.
know what? Let's exit the way we entered, because
Hold
we
on.
got to do this properly. Yeah.
That was Joe and Carmela Mele from the Wine Pair podcast.
Wow.
Wow.
You should be listening.
You should.
Agreed.
They always think too much. They always drink too much. They always play too much. They always play too much. And when they're with us too much, we fall in love.
Dallas, you sound amazing in this song.
Thank you. Thank you.
And when they're away too much, we hold up all their touch. So it's good we finally got them on the pod. Yes, it's good we finally got them on the pod. We hold it for the touch. We hold it for the touch. We hold it for the touch.
Thanks so much for listening, everybody. Once again, the winepairpodcast.com. That's where you can
Right.
find them. Entertainmentstudios.com is where you can follow us. And our sponsor, curated-wines.com. Thank you so much for listening. We will be back in 1 week with another wine and entertainment pairing for your entertainment. Ciao for now.
Later, guys.
Bye-bye.